Did you know these fascinating Rezero facts? First, Felix has access to necromancy through his family, the Argyles, who secretly practice this forbidden magic. His father even created an undead army in the past. At one point, Felix considered using necromancy to resurrect a prince, but ultimately chose not to. Second, both Amelia and Puck actually use fire-based magic, despite their powers appearing icy. Puck is the great spirit of fire, and while they both manipulate temperature, they cool things down instead of heating them, flipping expectations of typical fire users. Third, after forming a contract with Subaru, Beatrice becomes extremely attached to him. She even tries to follow him into the bathroom on multiple occasions, showing how literal and dedicated she is to their bond. Though Subaru obviously puts a stop to that. Lastly, Subaru's body is in a dangerously fragile state. His gate, the organ responsible for controlling mana flow, is completely broken. Without Beatrice constantly regulating his mana output, the excess magical energy would build up and eventually cause his body to explode. It's no exaggeration. Beatrice is the only thing keeping him alive under those conditions. What are all the authorities that Natsuki Subaru possesses, and what do they actually do? First, there's Return by Death, a power granted to him by Satella, the Witch of Envy. On the surface, it sends Subaru back in time whenever he dies. However, some fan theories propose a darker twist, that instead of rewinding time, he's actually destroying and recreating entire timelines with each reset. Next is the Authority of Greed, inherited from Regulus Corneus, which grants him Cor Leonis. This ability allows Subaru to absorb the pain and injuries of his allies. Though he experiences all the suffering himself, it can also share his emotional burden with trusted allies who have emotionally connected with him. But this comes with serious risks for everyone involved. Lastly, there's Sloth, obtained from Petajuice Romani Conti, which gives him invisible providence, a single unseen spectral hand that can phase through objects. Despite having these potent abilities, Subaru is still relatively weak in terms of physical combat and often relies on strategy and emotional strength to survive. Rezero fans went wild over one character for a pretty unexpected reason. She's simply the most commanding and captivating woman in the entire series. That character is Priscilla Bariel, and one unforgettable anime moment sealed her status. Priscilla has always had a powerful presence. Her regal demeanor, confident posture, and commanding voice give her the aura of a true ruler. This is further backed by her divine protection of the sun and uncanny luck, which essentially bends the world to her will, making her the polar opposite of Subaru's cursed existence. During research for this topic, I stumbled upon an oddly specific and totally unnecessary detail. Priscilla holds the title for the largest bust size in the entire Rezero cast. Believe it or not, that fact alone drove fans on social media, especially Twitter, into a frenzy. Their reaction hit its peak during a now infamous anime scene where Priscilla began undressing, triggering a massive wave of excitement. Given how over-the-top anime fandoms can be, it's no surprise they reacted so intensely, and honestly, it's kind of hard to blame them. Some Rezero characters aren't as evil as they might seem at first glance. Let's take a closer look at three of them. First, Roswaal. While he often comes off as manipulative, he does have a compassionate side. In a prequel novel, the younger brother of the first Sword Saint nearly freed Beatrice from the Forbidden Library. He was the only one who approached her without selfish intentions, but even he failed. When Roswaal learned that Beatrice would remain trapped, he was so moved he cried, showing his deep care for her. Second, Regulus. While undeniably a cruel and dangerous villain, one disturbing scene involving Amelia is often misunderstood. He wasn't the one who undressed her. Instead, he forced one of his wives to do it. Regulus doesn't physically violate his wives, though tragically he does kill them if they displease him. It's a low bar, but it makes him slightly less monstrous than many assume. Third, Echidna. According to the author, the Echidna from the Dream Tea world and the original from hundreds of years ago are actually different. The older Echidna was said to be more empathetic, helpful, and genuinely kind, unlike her more manipulative present-day counterpart in the Castle of Dreams. Everyone knows Reinhardt is ridiculously overpowered in Rezero, but there's one person the author said could actually defeat him, his own ancestor, Reed Astrea, the very first Sword Saint. Reed was one of the legendary heroes who helped seal away Satella, and his strength is so unbelievable that people thought the biography written about him was complete fiction. Reed's abilities are on another level. He can literally cut through concepts, yes, concepts, including space, time, and even light itself. There's even a story where he sliced apart a black hole using chopsticks. That's how absurdly powerful he is. He's also one of the few characters in the Rezero universe who could realistically shut Regulus down for good. In fact, if Reed and Reinhardt were to fight, the author confirmed that Reinhardt would win more often, but Reed still has a real shot at beating him, which is wildly impressive considering Reinhardt's reputation. And here's a fun detail. Reed wears an eye patch, but not because he's injured. Both of his eyes are perfectly fine. He just wears it because he can. That pretty much sums up his whole vibe. Insanely powerful and effortlessly cool. Did you know that Amelia was once a maid, just like Ram, and Garfield's hot furry sister? Before moving into Roswaal's mansion, Amelia actually stayed with his niece, Rose. Roswaal had sent a letter ahead of time to explain that Amelia was an honored guest, not a servant. However, Rose never read the letter and mistakenly assumed Amelia was another demi-human maid. Without question, she handed Amelia a maid outfit and put her to work. Amelia found the situation odd, but instead of speaking up, she assumed Roswaal was secretly testing her character, maybe to see if she was lazy or entitled. So trying to pass the test, she quietly took on the role of a maid. A few days later, when Roswaal came to visit, he was completely shocked to find the potential future queen of the kingdom doing chores in a maid uniform. That was definitely not part of his plan. And in case you're wondering, no, Amelia wasn't good at the job. She messed up just about everything she tried to do, from cleaning to serving. It's a hilarious and surprising part of her backstory that shows just how far she'll go to prove herself. Did you know that Puck originally helps Amelia because of Echidna? In one of the Rezero prequel stories, it's revealed that both Puck and Beatrice were actually created by Echidna. For a while, Puck lived in Echidna's mansion alongside Beatrice, until he was given a mission by her to find Amelia. Although this part wasn't included in the anime, Echidna had a connection to Amelia's mother, which seems to be the reason she was interested in the girl. Echidna even admits that one reason she's emotionally affected around Amelia is because of her relationship with Amelia's mother. Following Echidna's orders, Puck spent many years searching for Amelia. Eventually, he discovered her and broke the ice that had sealed her away. However, Echidna had strictly forbidden Puck from forming a contract with Amelia. Puck disobeyed this command and formed a bond with her anyway. As a consequence of breaking his vow to Echidna, he lost all his memories of his past life, including his time with her and Beatrice. Still, if not for Echidna creating him and sending him on that mission, Amelia would have remained frozen and forgotten. Her life was ultimately saved because of Echidna's actions, even indirectly. Here are some fun and surprising facts about Amelia from Rezero. First, Amelia is hilariously bad at singing. In a side story, Subaru made her wear a bucket on her head to muffle the sound, and Puck even jokingly apologized for being a bad father because of it. Second, that guitar-like instrument Liliana plays, Roswaal actually owns one too. He uses it to help Amelia relax during her study breaks by playing music. Subaru occasionally plays for her as well, and at one point, he was so eager to impress her that he tried playing it with his teeth, only to injure himself so badly he needed healing magic. Third, the creator of Rezero has made it clear that he would never allow a live-action adaptation of the series. Why? He believes no one in real life is cute enough to accurately portray Amelia. Finally, the author has officially confirmed that Amelia is canonically the most beautiful character in the entire series. Still, some fans argue otherwise. Many believe that female Roswaal actually outshines Amelia in terms of looks. Did you know there's a Rezero what-if scenario where Subaru falls into the trap of his own lust? In true isekai fashion, this alternate route takes a bizarre turn. Instead of the usual emotional and psychological struggles Subaru faces, this version, often referred to as the lust route, shows him becoming the king and surrounding himself with a harem of wives. Yes, you read that right. He essentially copies Regulus, the Sin Archbishop of Greed, who has nearly 300 wives and starts living out a fantasy-like life of indulgence. What makes this route so controversial isn't just the harem angle, it's how it contradicts the core themes of Rezero. The original story revolves around Amelia and the other royal candidates striving for the throne, each with their own ideals and ambitions. So Subaru suddenly becoming king and collecting every girl feels out of place and breaks the narrative's emotional weight. Still, fans speculate that if Subaru were to die and return by death enough times, treating his power like a reset button in a dating sim, this ending could technically happen. While amusing in a chaotic way, it's widely considered one of the most bizarre and outlandish what-if routes in the series. Did you know there's a Rezero fanfic where the entire cast gets to witness Subaru's journey firsthand? In this story, all the main characters are transported to a mysterious place called the Theater of Despair, a grim, inescapable setting where no one can use their magic. They're forced to watch everything Subaru has gone through from his own perspective, including the immense suffering, trauma, and sacrifices he's endured. The mysterious figure behind this event doesn't seek revenge or chaos. They simply want everyone to see the full extent of Subaru's story. As the characters watch, they see him get isekai'd, experience countless brutal deaths, and suffer under the weight of his return by death ability, something he's never been able to share with anyone. For some, it becomes overwhelming. A few even begin to fear Subaru, realizing that with return by death, he can essentially keep rewinding reality until he finds the outcome he wants. It's an emotional, eye-opening experience for the cast, and a unique twist on the original narrative. The story explores the big what if many fans have wondered. What if everyone truly understood what Subaru went through? It's a powerful reimagining that adds a new layer of depth to the Rezero universe. Did you know that Rezero's Roswaal was actually pregnant in the past? This surprising detail comes from Wilhelm's prequel novels and manga. Roswaal is able to escape death by transferring his soul into the bodies of his descendants. One of these descendants was a girl named Roswaal J. Mathers. Not only was her female form stunning, but she was also incredibly strong. Since she couldn't use magic in that body, she trained rigorously in martial arts and became one of Lagunica's most valuable combatants during the war, thanks to her deep knowledge of magic and physical strength. Despite Roswaal's talent in many areas, he has never been skilled in healing magic in any of his forms. Wanting to change that, he tried to introduce the best healing genes in Lagunica into his bloodline. Not from Felix, but from Felix's teacher, Garteach. To do this, he ended up becoming pregnant. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and his healing abilities still remained weak. Here's the big question. Considering all that Roswaal has gone through, and how far he's gone just to meet a certain girl, do you think he finally deserves a cup of her tea? Why is Reinhardt van Astrea considered the strongest being in Rezero? Simply put, he's like a character with cheat codes. In the world of Rezero, individuals can be born with something called divine protections, essentially superpowers that grant them unique abilities. Reinhardt not only possesses multiple divine protections, but also has the broken ability to acquire new ones at will. Needs super speed, invincibility, or the power to win a fight? He can just gain that divine protection instantly. Even more absurd, he can remove any of them whenever he wants, giving him complete control over his powers. This makes him functionally godlike, with the power to counter virtually any threat. Hypothetically, if he asked for the divine protection to defeat a specific opponent, there's really nothing they could do. It's like the universe itself would side with him. The only thing that slightly balances his overwhelming strength is a statement from the series author, who noted that the Archbishop's authorities are superior to divine protections. Still, he never said that a massive number of divine protections couldn't overwhelm even an authority. In the end, Reinhardt's strength is less about skill and more about being a walking embodiment of divine hacks.